Guys, how we doing? I'm Ryan Mack. Welcome back to Trading, guys. Let me just get across here. Okay. So today we're going to be running through fundamentals as always. We'll cover a bit of PMT, banking data, and we will have a look at technical analysis. I'm actually in oil, guys. I know I always say to my guys in the group, that when I take a trade, I'll give you. Normally I do, but I was literally rushing like fuck. My mother-in-law was in hospital, not for an operation. I wasn't rushing for anything emergency like, but it's a big thing in Asia where all the family have to be there and show the support, blah, blah, and we were running late. So I was like, shit, I need to go. So I entered here, essentially. I just jumped right in. Look, you can see it's bang on my zone. Now, if we come across, let's just have a look on my group. Maybe there's too many trades here to check it. Hold on. In fact, wait, I'll just see. Swing trade education. Let me just find the setups. I'm pretty sure I already gave it. Where the fuck is it? Swing trade education. Swing trade setups, there is. There we go. Look. So, let me just open this up. Does it say? Yeah, okay. There we go. Look. So I already gave, you can see in the group, I already gave oil. All right. Look, boom. I already had it lined up. And if you come back here now, bosh, there it is. Okay. So I already entered that. So I hope to God you guys took this. This is exactly why I post the setups in here in case I need to go and I can't give you the actual signal, which, let me just show you, would normally be like this, right? I'd normally give it like that. Sometimes I just don't have the time. But as you can see, look, I gave the setup. It's bang in my zone, right? And then if you come back here, boom. Picture perfect, guys. All right. So I am currently still in this trade. Since February, I'm currently up 39.25%. You can see on Darwin X, I'm ranked at number 2 out of 580 people in gold. So in Darwin X, there's 3 categories. There's bronze, where you start, silver, and then gold. In bronze, there's about 60,000 traders. So you have to get through those 60,000 to get to the top of bronze. Then you have to go into silver, where I think there's about 13 or 14,000 traders in silver. So you have to get through that to the top of silver, and then you get to the bottom of gold, which it was previously 635. So maybe some traders have quit already. Or they've dropped back down into silver. You then have to get back, when you're in gold, you have to get through, all these 580 just now. But last week it was like 635 to then get, obviously, in top ranks. I'm now ranked at number 2. This does change. So last week I was actually sitting away up at like 618. Now, the reason for that is it's because I'm a swing trader, okay? So I take very few trades. Like you can see, I'm flat for a long time, trade, loss, flat for a bit, up, win, flat for a bit, loss, win, 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 boom, win, small loss, win again, and you've got this win, loss, and currently in a win, okay? So that's typical of a swing trader. If you look here, this is typical pattern of a day trader, you see? So that's really a beautiful liquidity curve this guy's got. But he's a day trader. That's why... Oh, shit, what did I do there? Sorry. He's a day trader. That's why... Oh, what the hell happened there? Sorry. Let me go back. Okay. That's why the liquidity curve is totally different, right? You see it's all jaggy. Dum, 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 dum. It's all up and down, up and down. But that's a beautiful liquidity curve nonetheless. But you can see he's a day trader. You can tell just from how many trades he's taken. And if you come back to me, TPCI, that is me, as you can see there, Ryan Mack. You can see I'm a swing trader, so I take very few trades, okay? And I'm just going to jump into it. So you can see there's oil. I've taken oil, okay? Happy days. My take profit is actually up here, about kind of 100, but I will monitor it as it gets here. My stop losses are already at break even. So because of the way the world is going right now, all it takes over the weekend is Trump to tweet something or the news to come out and say, oh, Iran and the US have agreed a deal. The next minute, oil will then just absolutely tank. Okay. So if you're in profit over the weekend, before the weekend, sorry, you obviously don't want to close that trade, right? But at the same time, you don't want to leave your stop loss at a loss. Fucking hell, what is that? You don't want to leave your stop loss at a loss, okay? Because you don't want a winning trade to go into a loss. If it goes back down and stops me out at break even, that's fine. I haven't lost anything, you know. But you also want to keep that trade open in case the opposite happens and you come in, and the next minute you've got a gap down here, right? You might even get a gap up where you come in on Monday and the market's went like that, bang, jumped in from there. You know, you're like, oh, happy days, because that can also happen. All right. So, those of you that have been following my videos for a while, you know that when it comes to actually getting my fundamental data, I get it from this platform here. It's called Trading Economics. So I always do my weekly reviews on Forex Factory. Okay, number one, you're all familiar with Forex Factory, but number two, if I look at countries, look at how much of a pain in the arse it is for me to go around and click on one country here, one country there, right? It's an absolute nightmare. However, if I come across to Forex Factory, it's very simple. Okay, all I do is go here, filter, and there we go. I can go to none and then just simply click the ones that I want. Okay. Excuse me. So remember, get your notepad out. You're going to write currency strengths, and then you're going to write them in this order: strong, weak, and then neutral. Okay, not strong, neutral, and weak, which would be logical. Strong, weak, and then neutral. Now, the reason why we do that is you're going to write down the economies which are strong, the ones which are weak, and the ones which are neutral. Okay, the neutral ones, we're going to ignore them, and you are then going to pair up a strong economy with a weak economy. That is how you decide what pairs you're going to be looking at to trade. Doesn't mean you trade them right away. There might not be an area of value to actually enter them and take part in them. However, that's the ones you're going to look at. So when you come across here and you're looking at all these pairs on the right-hand side of the screen, you think, oh my God, do I need to check every single bloody one of those pairs? No, you don't. You're only checking the ones with the correlation of strong against the weak economy, which narrows it down to usually about 4, 5, or 6 pairs. And then from the 4, 5, or 6, maybe you get 1 or 2 which are lining up for an actual trade. And it's like a process of elimination, right? So that's how we do it. So let's just move across back to Forex Factory. Now, I do each currency / country individually, apart from AUD, China, and NZD. Okay, that's because of correlation. All these three are positively correlated. If China goes up, AUD will go up. Same with NZD. If China comes down, AUD, we can anticipate that to come down. Okay, I won't get into why that is. I've done it in 100 bloody videos already, but that's the reason why I'm doing it. Okay, now I'm just going to fly through these so we don't take up too much time. Maybe a bit too late for that now, but anyway. What date are we on? The 2nd. Okay, so this is last week. So AUD, that's actually a bit bullish, even though it's -1. It still came in higher than previous. Okay, so excuse me. Don't be fooled that that's red. Obviously, it's -1, but it was -7 previously, so it has increased. Okay, that's a positive movement. It just didn't quite reach the forecast of 0.2. Okay, but it is still a vast improvement. CPI year on year, 4% to 3.8. Okay, that is bearish. It's dropped. Trimmed mean CPI, that has dropped. But however, it's dropped, but it came in as expected. Okay, so it wouldn't have really had an effect on the market because it's called priced it in. They've already have priced that in previously. Business confidence is bullish on NZD. AUD, bullish. Building approvals, bullish. Import prices, bullish. PPI quarter on quarter, bullish. Now, here's one for you. We've got here CPI, right? It's came in less. Okay, CPI year on year came in less. CPI month on month has came in better, but not as good as anticipated. Okay, now if we look here at PPI quarter on quarter, that has massively improved, right? Massively increased. Now, what can we take from that? for the next CPI numbers that we anticipate to come out for the AUD. Well, we can take out from that we would expect AUD CPI numbers next month to come out much better. Okay, so they'd be looking at more of a bullish run. So we'd be still looking that AUD is potentially still more bullish as it stands. Okay, now why is that? Okay, let's just say that you are a mining company. Let's just say you're a company that makes products, right? And you make this type of product here. You need to buy this stuff from the mines, right? Which is like a lump of metal, right? You need to buy a lump of metal, sorry. Aye. To turn it into this, okay? If PPI is up, that means the cost of the lump of metal that you had to buy that was dug out of the ground to create this has now increased, okay? So when you're buying it from the mine, the price of that lump of metal that you're purchasing from the mine has increased. Now, in order for you to maintain profit, what do you need to do? Well, when you turn that lump of metal into something like this, which wholesalers, how's that? Which wholesalers then purchase, you're going to mark up that price again, okay? So you have to make that price more expensive for a wholesaler like, Alphamart, Tesco, Asda to come and buy this from you, okay? Otherwise, you're not going to profit as much because you had to spend more money on the raw material. Now, CPI being consumer price index means that if a wholesaler has to purchase this at a higher price from the producer, i.e. PPI, which means what are they going to do? They're going to have less profit if they sell you this item at the same price they sold to you last month when it was cheaper. They're not going to do that. So what they're going to do, they're going to make this more expensive than what it was last month when you came to see it so that they can maintain their profit and cover their costs, okay? If they increase that, that means CPI has increased. So therefore, when we see a pretty drastic PPI increase here, that means we can predict next month the CPI will be looking to increase, okay? Because it gets passed on. They're all a little bit lagging, right? So that's essentially why that's essentially what we can take away from these details, okay? Private sector credit month on month is bullish. Manufacturing PPI is bearish. So anything above 50 is bullish. Anything below 50 is bearish. So it's bearish China, bearish non-manufacturing China. Okay. Excuse me. Moving on. What have we got next week or this week coming up? Employment change, yeah, GDP price index, inflation gauge, unemployment rate, labor cost, good trade balance, US dominated trade balance. Okay, we've got a fair bit we want to see. Sorry, a little bit of what we want to see. We don't have loads, so I'm not really bothered about that. However, I am going to put, I'm going to keep AUD in strong for now, and NZD, I'm actually going to keep it in strong, but it could, we could argue that it's kind of neutral to weak bullish, okay, that kind of area. But I'm going to keep AUD in strong for now because I'm thinking about the bigger picture, right? Again, we could argue that it's neutral and so on, but I'm just going to go with strong. Moving on, okay, so CAD is weak right away. I'm telling you, CAD is weak. I don't even have to thing with it. CAD is going to remain weak because the economy is weak. GDP has dropped. Do not be fooled that that's green. It's only green because it came in higher than anticipated, but it has dropped from 0.6 to 0.3, which is bearish, okay? Do not be fooled by the colour green. This week coming up, we've got some decent news we want to see on Friday. Employment change, unemployment rate, and IVPMI, okay? Excuse me. Manufacturing trade balance. So, yeah, let's see. CAD is still weak, okay? Just remember, the Canadian dollar will get some strength from oil prices going up because it's heavily pegged to oil, okay? So if you see CAD going up this week against a different currency and you think, oh, why is CAD strong? This guy said it was weak. Well, it is weak. The economy is weak. But you have to remember, The Canadian currency is closely pegged to oil. So if the price of oil goes up, it will give the Canadian dollar this little boost, okay? But it's not a real economy strength. It's just a little boost from oil pricing. The minute that oil price comes back down, the Canadian dollar will instantly melt, okay? Because their economy is shit. So I'm putting CAD in weak. Moving on. CHF, we don't even bother looking at CHF. It's because the data on it's always the same. Okay, so nothing changes. I don't trade CHF based on market data because it's just always the same. It never moves. CHF is traded based upon market sentiment. Okay, why is there CAD in there? It's either risk on or risk off market sentiment. Okay, if it's risk on, you'd be looking to sell CHF in layman's terms. If it's risk off, you'd be looking to buy CHF, okay, against weaker economies. Gemini for business. Okay, I'm just going to fly through this. Bullish, bullish, sticky, bullish, bullish, bearish, bullish, 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 bearish, bullish, bullish, bullish. It came in better than anticipated. Same again came in strong, but it's Italy and Spain we don't really care about. Monthly unemployment, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, 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 bullish. Okay, so that is quite good for the euro. What did I have it in last week? I had it in week last week, but it was kind of neutral to. Euro was a tricky one because it could have either been weak bullish or weak bearish. It was in that kind of neutral ground. But euro feels the brunt of the Strait of Hormuz being closed. Okay, so that was why I'm more veered towards it being weak. The economy is still holding up for now, but it does feel a huge backlash from the Strait of Hormuz being closed. Euro, Spanish manufacturing PMI. Okay, we've got a lot of news next week. We want to see we've got PMIs, budget balance, Spanish unemployment, French services, German final services. Yeah, we've got a lot of news next week that we want to see. Okay, so I'm gonna let me just see. I'm gonna put euro in neutral. Okay, I'm gonna put it in neutral. However, it is potentially a weak bullish. Okay, it's neutral to weak bullish. We have to wait and see how this news comes out next week. If that comes in good, then yeah, we could push it to weak bullish and then bullish. All right. Where are we? Okay, back. GBP. Okay, bearish, bearish, bullish, 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 sticky, same, and bullish. Okay. Pound for me is, I'm going to keep it in neutral. I'm going to put it in neutral, sorry. Wait there, Emma. Had it in weak last week. I'm going to move it to neutral from weak, okay? And then let's see what we've got next week. Japanese yen, I mean, it's always bearish. So Japanese yen had a bullish move, right? I think it was Thursday or Friday. It's not because of the economy. It was the Bank of Japan intervention. Okay, they were stepping in to offload tons of USD and buy tons of Japanese yen. Okay, it was just an intervention. That's why everyone looks at USD Japanese yen and goes, "Oh my god, it melted, it crashed." No, it didn't do any of those things. Just a bank intervened. It didn't. There was no data for the move. There was nothing for no information about why the move happened. It was when it happened. I mean, later out, it transpired it's the Bank of Japan intervening. All right, because they were in the hurt locker. So SPPI year on year, 3.2. It's bearish, bullish, 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 stagnant but bullish because it's maintained. Bullish, bearish, same, and bearish. Okay, it's green because it came in better than forecast, but it's bearish. I'm still maintaining that Japanese yen is weak because their economy, although yes, it is clawing back, it is still pretty poor. Okay, it's not an economy you're going to be lining up to invest your money in. All right. Monetary base year on year, final manufacturing PMI, monetary base year on year, average cash earnings year on year, monetary policy minutes, household spending year on year. We don't really have much that we want to see next week. And last but not least, before we move on to the technical analysis stuff, we are going to do USD. Bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, 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 bearish. Same, 3.75. Bearish, bearish, bullish, bullish. Sorry, bearish. Sorry. Yes, it is. It's bearish. Bearish, bearish, bullish, 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 bullish. Okay, so it's a bit of mixed data there. A little bit heavier towards the bearish, but it was mixed overall. Next week, we've got tons of news. And we've got non-farm payroll, I believe it's NFP week. Yes, non-farm employment. Okay, we've got NFP next week. So just be careful. You know what it's like. It always does this. We've got tons of news next week. We've got jokes, we've got trade balance, we've got PMI, we've got NFP, we've got services PMI. Yeah, we've got loads of info for next week. Okay, so at CHF, sorry, I forgot to put that in. That's neutral. And USD. The USD overall for me in terms of swing trading is still strong, okay? But I'm talking about the here and now. It's going to be neutral to weak bearish, okay? Neutral to weak bearish, given the geopolitical environment as well. So I'm going to just place it. I'm going to put it in strong, right? But I'm going to put a small W beside it, just so that I remember in my mind that that means weak bullish. Okay, so USD in large underneath the strong column, but I'm putting a small W beside it, which just reminds me that it is weak bearish. Okay, let's have a look at last week's prime market terminal. Let's have a look. So this was last week's. Okay, this doesn't get updated until tomorrow. So USD was neutral, Euro weak bearish, GBP neutral, CAD weak bearish, AUD weak bullish, NZD weak bullish, pretty much similar. Japanese yen bearish, yep. CHF bearish. Okay, so it's fairly similar. Like I said, this doesn't matter if I was saying something was bullish and they said it was bearish. It's not that I'm right and they're wrong, and vice versa. You need context. These guys are always talking about what's happening right now today. I'm talking about what is happening in the grand scheme of things. I think I've got an example of it here on gold. So let me just show you before we move on. There we go. Okay. So when they're saying something is bearish, they're talking about like this, right? They're talking about the little intraday move. When I'm saying it's bullish, I'm talking about the overall trend. Okay, so both of them are absolutely right. And if I'm saying it's bearish and they're saying it's bullish, they'll be talking about this part of the market cycle, right? And I'm talking about the whole move of the market cycle, the overall trend throughout the next 3 to 6 months. These guys are talking about what is it doing today and this week. Okay, so none of us are right and none of us are wrong. It's just you need context, right? Which is very important. You can see the guys in our group have actually taken tons of gold trades this week, but for me, gold hasn't even moved. You know, they've just been doing scalps, but for me, like, hasn't done a thing. I am just in oil, which turned out to be a good trade. This is potentially a closed area, but hopefully it shoots up. But I will be monitoring it when it hits here, and then after that up here. Okay. Now let's just go right back to the beginning and see what we've got. So I am on the daily time frame. Come on. I'm going to fly through this. Okay, there's nothing there. Nothing really there. You could take, I mean, both of them are bullish. That's why you're getting this range, right? So I wouldn't even touch it. Not even any point in wasting time talking about it. You can see Japanese yen is giving you this melt. It's just Bank of Japan intervention. Bang. Once it gets down here, it will then start flying again. Because AUD is far stronger than Japanese yen. AUD, USD, look, you can see, boom, it's hit both my areas. So look, small candle, large engulfing, it's came back, it's hit my area. Sometimes you get it where it just tips it and goes. Look, I'll show you. Sometimes you get it where it just tips it like this and goes. Sometimes it comes in. Sometimes it even overextends for a bit of a liquidity grab, but it's in that main area. You can see the second time, small candle, large engulfing. You mark up the small candle and you wait for the market to come back and hit that zone. Boom, hit the zone. Away it goes, right? I didn't. You might be thinking, well, why didn't you take it? I didn't take it because both of them were the same strength. Okay, I never ever trade a strong with a strong, a weak with a weak, a neutral with a neutral. I never even trade a weak with a neutral or a strong with a neutral. Okay, I only trade strong economies against weak economies, and that's what gives you, this movement, right? If AUD is stronger than euro, you're going to get this movement. If euro and AUD are roughly the same strength, both are neutral, both are weak, or both are strong, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a big mess of ranging, okay, which I don't want. By trading a strong against a weak, this is what you get. You get an uptrend or a downtrend, okay? But again, there's nothing here for me to take right now. Euro CAD, there's really nothing to take. Euro NZD, nothing yet. Let's see what it does here. Euro Japanese yen, again, that's just the Bank of Japan intervention. I'll be looking to see what it does down here and also up here. Euro USD. Look, so you can see I've already marked this in. That's a beautiful candle there to give us a potential reversal. But look, it's went live. It's went long again. So we need to wait and see, right? We need to wait and see what it does this week. But that is also a potential trade. Hence why I've already marked that up, okay? And I've already given that to the lads. GBP AUD is really nothing I would take right there because both economies are doing quite well. GG, again, it's just a bullshit move. Ignore that. Let's see what it does when it comes back down. I'd be looking to buy that. I'd be looking to buy it all day long, right? Just looking for, I would not be selling this. I'd be letting this play out to the downside, and then I'd be waiting for it to hit an area of value, potentially this area here or here, to then enter it as a buy. I would not be looking to sell it based on current fundamentals, okay? GBP CHF, it's a pretty boring pair. GBP CHF is the kind of pair that you can be in that trade for 7 weeks and it looks like it's flying, and then you'll measure the pips and you've got like 120 pips and you're just like, well, that was completely pointless. You can see again, look, all areas here, look, boom, boom, they've all hit, and at the top, bang, bang, bang. You know, they've all hit. GBP USD, let's see what it does in this zone here. But I believe it will probably be sells, and it's probably going to be more like this now. Okay. NZD CAD. So it's probably going to push up to here because of the strength from oil, but it's not a real strength, remember, okay? But overall, look, it's just a big, massive range. It's horrible. I wouldn't even waste my time taking this. NZD Japanese yen, exactly the same. Wouldn't bother. NZD USD, I'd be waiting for it to hit up here again. Let's see what we get up here, and then I'd be taking the sell. So let's see if it moves. I can now clear this up because it's already broken it. So let's wait and see what it does there. USD CAD. You can see here, look, bang, straight on the zone, and away it goes. Straight in the bottom zone, away it goes. excuse me. USD CHF. I'll be waiting for buys here. You can see I've already had it marked up. So when it hits here, let me just put a reminder. Okay, there we go. An alert, sorry. Bang, I'll be looking to buy it from here if everything still stays the same. USD Japanese yen, good area to buy from. Let's see what happens next week. Let's have a look at dollar index. Dropped, but that's fine. It's perfectly normal. At least it's broken above. This is an area you'd be looking for to come back, retest, and go. Oil, as I said, I'm currently in it. I already entered it here. Gold, I'm waiting for something to happen. Look, it's just a range. You see that? Look, dum 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 dum. It's just a range. If you're a day trader or scalper, of course, there's plenty of trades, but as a swing trader, there's nothing. Silver, same, and copper, pretty much the same. Okay, let's have a look at indices very quickly. Okay, nothing really here that would take. Nothing. I'd like to see it pull back to here at least, okay? Here, or even better, here. There we go. Bang. Look. Wee liquidity grab there. US30. That's it. Okay. There's nothing really there that that's worth taking right now, apart from Euro USD. That's the only one. Okay, so let me just go back to that. Euro USD is really the only thing that I can personally see lining up for me right now. This would be the trade. However, like you can see right here, small candle, large engulfing. Okay, so what you may find is people will generally put their stop losses above here. They'll be like, well, it's above the EMA. It's not going to go anywhere. Well, that doesn't always happen, but this is a prime zone. Look, so let's just check. Okay, small candle, large engulfing. Why there? Because that shows you there's a massive amount of volume come in. Let's just use the fixed range volume finder. Volume coming from below and here in this zone here. So this here is a good zone for volume. What I'm now looking at, right, where is the liquidity? Okay, so liquidity is sitting above here, right? Because that's where everyone's stop losses are, okay? So what I'd be looking for is, I'd be looking for this to come up here, bang, hit that, and then I'd be looking to enter round about this area here, and my stop loss would be above here. Okay, my stop loss would be up here, giving it a good place to a bit of space to breathe. I mean, you could put it above there if you wanted, but it's a bit overkill, right? But that's too tight. That's just about right. You've got enough space to breathe, and away you go. Bang. Okay, so my entry, I'm going to look to put my entry about here. Okay, and that is us. So let's see what happens, guys. I hope this has been a beneficial video for you. I'll see you this week. I will be here all this week, so if I take any more trades, I will let you know. Okay, take care.